human trafficking, this is not new, right? There's a story of trafficking in the very Bible that we read. Stories of trafficking. It doesn't say human trafficking. But if you understand the definition of trafficking as someone who's being bought or sold for someone else's purpose, for someone else's profit. And we know we have the TVPA that was implemented in the US in the year 2000, when the United States recognized that trafficking was a problem here. The year 2000. Y'all remember that year? 2000. Y'all don't remember, right? Stop acting like y'all don't remember. That's the year the TV was supposed to stop working, remember? That's the year the refrigerator was supposed to stop working, you remember? Right? That was the year that the United States recognized that human trafficking was a problem. But guess what, y'all? When they recognized that trafficking was a problem, it wasn't to address domestic victims. It was only to address international victims. So we had our own U.S. citizen, boys and girls, men and women, being sold for someone else's profit, but there was this act that was implemented that didn't address U.S. citizens. Now let me come out of trafficking for a minute, because sometimes when we talk about trafficking, we don't understand that our everyday activity fosters this thing we call trafficking. Y'all, she's looking at me strange, right? Let me ask y'all a question. When I say bachelor party, what comes to mind? I'm gonna ask you again. When I say bachelor party, what comes to mind? I'm gonna ask y'all one more time. When I say bachelor party, what comes to mind?
Drinking.
Thank you. Who said it? Girl, come give me a hug. Come give me a hug. Thank you, Lord. You said what? Guys, I said bachelor party, right? But that should tell us something about our culture. That should tell us something about our culture, how I asked a question about a bachelor party 3 times, and collectively, you said strippers. That's because we are programmed by these sources of influence in our society to become desensitized to this reality we call human trafficking. Y'all with me? Strippers comes to mind. A bachelor party is associated to something that is sacred as marriage. I think about my 5 carat. I tell my boyfriend I want 5 carat. That fool got 5 baby carrots and got down on one knee. I got 5 carats. Right? But that should tell us something about our culture. How many of you eat at Hooters? Hooters? Nah, I love this crowd. Y'all don't eat at Hooters because they're going to sue me one day, but I know a very good attorney. For the life of me, I don't understand why the requirement to work at Hooters is that you must wear short shorts and have big boobs. Right. Why? What are they really selling? Because if your chicken was that good, I mean, people's going to come regardless, right? Yeah. Because McDonald's, people go to McDonald's even though they tell you it's unhealthy. And when they go to McDonald's, y'all say supersize it, right? And we hear every day McDonald's is unhealthy. So what is Hooters really selling? We have other sources of influence in our society, like the game Grand Theft Auto, where you can buy a prostitute, rape her, kill her, have sex with her. Well, it's not having sex, it's raping her. Rape for profit is really what it is. Dispose of her body. And when I did a presentation the other day, this guy said, and I can get my money back. And if y'all don't know, Grand Theft Auto is a game your children are playing. We live in a society where everything is the internet right now, and we use the good side of the internet. But do you know there's something called the dark web? Where there's a special currency that they even use on this dark web called bitcoins. Bitcoins haven't been fully regulated as yet. I was with an FBI agent a couple weeks ago in Virginia, and he told me they're starting to regulate it. They're starting to regulate it. right? Someone called me the other day and said, did you know about Bitcoins? You can invest in Bitcoins. I said, I don't want to have nothing to do with Bitcoins. Because I know traffickers and buyers use Bitcoins to go undetected. So when this issue of human trafficking come about, we got to look in our society and look at the things in our society that are fostering this thing we call human trafficking, sex trafficking, whatever you want to call it, because human trafficking is the umbrella, right? And under that umbrella, you have sex trafficking, labor trafficking, child soldiers, child brides. Tonight, you're going to hear a lot about sex trafficking. You're going to hear from a labor trafficking survivor in a few. But when I talk about sex trafficking because I'm a survivor. And you may look at me and people say, how did you get trafficked? Because you don't look like what you've been through. And I said, do you know that man named Jesus? Do you know the story of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, right? Y'all know that story, right? About to take y'all to church for 2 seconds. Y'all remember when they were in the oven, right? And when they looked in the oven, they didn't see 3 people. How many people they saw? Because who was with them? Jesus. Jesus was with them, right? So yes, I went through some stuff. But I wasn't alone when I went through that stuff. And let me tell y'all, this Christ that I have in me, it wasn't always there. Because when I came out of being trafficked, I cursed God. Where were you when this was happening to me? And I remember my spiritual mom said, why don't you ask him? Oops. You don't ask God where he was, because when he start answering you, you will start running. Because he started reminding me where he was. Remember that corner that you were on? And the story came on the news that the girl got killed there? And you left there 5 minutes before. That could have been you. But I moved you out of there. Remember that time you put the gun in your mouth and you pulled the trigger? Why you think the gun was unloaded? See, when we talk about human trafficking, we like to focus on the children, right? And we ought to focus on the children. Because sometimes they don't have someone to stand in the gap and defend them. But let me also inform you that adults are trafficked too. Those who are 18 and older are trafficked too. Right? 18 is not a magical number. Every time I do advocacy, I hear about some policies, 18 or 18 and under, or 18 is not a magical number. A human being is a human being. Whether you're 2, 5, 18, 25, 55, a human being is a human being. So here I was, 21 years old, crossing the street when I met this man one day. Now, I grew up in a Christian household. I had a full athletic scholarship to St. John's University, D1, Big East, yeah, right? Full track scholarship. Injured my hamstring, lost my scholarship, tried to work to get money to go back to school. While crossing the street one day, I met a man. Now, I'm from New York, guys. Anybody from New York? So you can relate to this, right? When you're walking down the street, New York guys be like, yo, shorty.
Come here, mommy.
Come here, mommy, right? You know, right? So here I was crossing the street, and I saw this car coming towards me. The car looked familiar, so I looked in the car. This guy got out the car, y'all. He extended his hand and said, good afternoon, young lady. I said, my type of guy. Hello, how you doing? Right? We exchanged numbers and we had great conversation. Things that I love talking about. Single parents in the community, the high number of African-American males incarcerated, politics, social justice issues. It's been in me forever, right? He said he graduated from Morehouse College. I said, yes, I like this guy. When I asked him, well, what do you do for a living? He said, I want you to like me for who I am, not what I do. I said, oh, that's a good answer. I don't want him to think I'm a gold digger, right? I don't want him to think I'm after his money, right? So I accepted that answer. And I shared with him that I had lost my scholarship, and I was working because I was $3,000 short after taking out all the loans and financial aid and stuff. And he said, well, if you're working, you're not going to be able to save. I have a basement apartment. You can stay in my basement apartment free of cost. I said, he has a good approach. handsome at the time, right? I got some sense now. He's no longer handsome, right? Kind, good conversation, took him up on his offer. And then he said, listen, I have a way you can make some quick money. All you have to do is dance. And I thought, dance. My mama is Jamaican and she will beat the bejesus out of me if she know I did this, but I need $3,000. And the first night he put me in a club. In 2 hours I made $300, not taking off my clothes, nobody touching me. So I started to do the math. 2 hours, $300. In no time I'm gonna get this money, right? Y'all with me? Right? Nobody touching me, don't have to take off my clothes. Sounds okay to me, right? Then he pulled me out the club and put me to this house. He said it was $10 for a wall dance and $20 for a lap dance. I was walking around asking everybody, do you want to dance? Do you want to dance? Do you want to dance? Nobody wanted to dance. I'm like, damn, I'm not that ugly. Right? Y'all think I'm beautiful, right? Get that shot, sir. Get that shot right there, right there, right there. Yeah, right there. That's my good side. That's my good side. Daniel. So, oh, that's the TV people. That's the news. I don't mess with them. I don't have enough money. But, right? You could do anything you want to do, Channel 9. You do your thing. But I could talk to this one. Get my good side, all right? My good side. So I'm here walking around asking everybody, do you want to dance? Nobody want to dance with me. Till one guy was bold enough to ask me how much it was for oral sex. Now, I didn't know Jesus then, so I'm not going to repeat the words that came out my mouth that night tonight. But I cussed that dude out. And the trafficker overheard that conversation. And he said, you're going to do whatever that man said do. And I said, did you hear him? He said, yes, it's $50. I said, well, you go do it then. And we got into it. And I told him I was going to leave. And I remember taking one step forward, saying I'm going to leave. And he put his hand around my neck and brought me back to my position. And he said, do you really think you can make it out of here alive? And I was a fighter, people. I was fighting everybody. I was like a young Mayweather. Psych. Right? I was fighting everybody. But that fighter spirit that I had in me disappeared. I froze. But I had a plan. Because I'm Jamaican. And you know how the Jamaican people are, right? All right. Y'all with me, right? It's historical. They said the bad slaves were dropped off in Jamaica for a reason because we were rebellious. It's truth. There's some truth to that. Right? I know my history. Now I do. When I got home, it's going to be me and him. These other people in this club, they ain't going to be there. It's going to be me and you. I got home, I said, listen, thank you so much for your help. I'm going to go downstairs and pack my things. You're a really nice guy, but dancing I'm okay with. Prostitution, not my cup of tea. I'm going to go downstairs and pack my stuff. He got up, he said, do you really think you could leave? And I said, don't believe me, just watch. Didn't say that. That song wasn't out back then. But he approached me again, and I was prepared this time. He's going to come after my throat, right? Punch him in the face, duck, come up in the groin, spin around, kick, right? Y'all don't know how to fight. Teach y'all some stuff, right? So when he said, do you really think you could leave? And I said, just watch. He put his hand around my throat, and what you think I did? Duck? Girl, you don't know me. I'm from the Bronx, uptown, New York. New Yorkers, BX represent, hardcore, and I'm Jamaican. I punched him in the face. And that's when I learned rule number 1, never hit a pimp. He choked me to the point of unconsciousness, where I lost control of my bodily fluids. To this day, in my right eye, I still have a dark spot where he popped the blood vessel. And that cycle of abuse, physically and psychologically, continued for 18 months as what I describe as severe torture in every sense of the word torture. 21 years old. When I look in the news today, the minute you are 18 and over, and I'm the co-chair for the Victim Services for the Maryland State Task Force, and I could tell you, if someone is over the age of 18, it's hard for us to push through with a trial or to even get a prosecutor to take the case. And that is the truth around the country. The minute you are 18 and over, the prosecutor has to have hard evidence before she even consider taking that trafficking case. You're under 18, they can take it in 2 seconds. A human being is a human being is a human being. But before I leave the stage, I want y'all to know that that was my story. Human trafficking is my issue, and I'm not going to shut up about it. And I remember meeting my FBI arrested agent the other day at FBI headquarters. He was sitting in the audience. And I said, Sean, you should have got me when you could, because I'm not going to shut up about it. Human trafficking is my issue. It may not be your issue. You may just be here supporting Stacy tonight, but I want to ask you 2 questions before I leave. What is your issue? What is that one thing that is near and dear to your heart? What is that one thing that upsets you every time you see it on the news? What is it? What is God telling you to do about this issue? Is it just a conversation at the dinner table? Are you getting up? Are you getting involved? Are you writing to your legislators? Because I can tell you this. I spoke to the head of the task force for Eastern Shore. They met with their legislators recently. You know what their legislators told them? They're not voting on human trafficking issue because no one in their constituents called them about it. So you want to take some action, call your legislators, call your representative, and tell them you care about human trafficking, or you care about that issue that is near and dear to your heart. So as I said, human trafficking is my issue. What is your issue? And what are you doing about it? Thank you.